David Mason, the Director of Public Health for the town of Sandwich, with Chief Burke, and we're doing PSA number 3W2. It's April Fool's Day, so we'll kick off that day with our update of what we have for cases.
All right, thank you, Dave. I'm not going to joke around about the numbers. So we're at 72 active cases. Last week we were at 70. 34 hospitalizations, up from 29. So we're holding steady, still red designation for the community, and I think we're going to be in this for a little bit longer.
All right, so I mean, and there's been a lot of testing going around. We've done testing at the schools in the town. Do you want to speak to that, Chief?
Yep, so every Tuesday we have been doing free testing for educational staff at all the schools. We also do some on the weekend if need be. So we did a large event on Tuesday. We did 140 staff that we tested, and then yesterday was the Stop the Spread drive-through event at Human Services Building. It was a combined effort with the command team and the state, and we pushed through roughly 300 people were tested through that also. So a couple things I just want to mention to people when you get into large-scale testing, and if your percentages we were at around a 5% positivity rate, that the numbers are going to go up. If we look at the 300 tested yesterday, if you stick with the 5% positivity rate, 15 people most likely will come back positive from yesterday's testing. So with increased testing comes increased numbers. It's important for people to understand that if the numbers do go up, by 20 or 30, that we also reference the large-scale testing event with that. And again, we're pretty much where we were last year. I pulled last year's report from April 1st and all the things that we didn't know at that time. And it just seems like this type of year is good for spreading of this virus. And we went up, down, now we're in the third wave. And it's basically in line with what we saw last year. So hopefully we get through April, get on the other side of May, and we're on the back side of it, like we've been saying multiple times over the past couple months.
So to add to that caseload, and to add a new dynamic really to what's going on as we go into this this second year, is the fact of the P1 variant or Brazilian variant. I receive regular updates from Yarmouth and Barnstable relative to their caseload. With regards to the P1 variants, we were at maybe a dozen last week. We're up at 50 now.
Yep.
So and to have 50 valid cases at this point, it does mean there's more.
Yes.
So it's just a representative that it's here. We know it's here. And those numbers are growing based on the testing that's done. And Chief, you want to explain the testing too? Because the testing that you're doing, the testing that's being done, I mean, it's for coronavirus. So, but it's not specific to any type of variant. Correct?
Correct. So it's a general sequencing of the COVID virus is what the testing is looking for, both with the rapid antigen tests that we do, the nasal PCR testing. Both of those are looking for COVID-19 sequences, not necessarily variants. There are tests coming out that are variant specific. We're working with Thermo Fisher Scientific. We had an air monitoring machine that was in the station that we're going to be bringing back in a little bit, and they're working on a secondary piece to upgrade our testing capability to include variants, which I think is important. The one thing that's interesting, we talk about testing, how things come full circle. The antibody testing seems to be and not for diagnosing current cases, but has been pretty accurate across the board. And when you make antibodies for COVID, you make antibodies. There's no variance in antibodies. So that's why I think there is some value still in the antibody testing, not only for vaccine efficacy, which we've been doing with our staff, but again, I'll give you a couple of examples of people that I know. Their kids were very, very symptomatic. If I had to bet my paycheck, I would have said they were positive. They tested negative at least 5 times, both nasal PCR, rapid antigen. And But with an antibody test, they showed some IgM, which is early stage antibody. So, the variant plays an interesting role in this, and we're just going to keep all of our testing packages that we have from PCR, antigen, and antibody in play here. As I said to you, all the way through 2021, we'll have a testing posture available. Whether we're going to need it totally, I don't know. But if you had asked people in February, do we need testing capability? The majority of people would have said no. And luckily, we had 1,000 tests ready to go, and we were aggressive in testing both town employees and school staff once a week over this past 4 to 5 weeks.
Well, and that's the thing. When the vaccines started coming out and the rage was getting vaccinated, the testing got lost. And that getting lost is a result of, and the town maintaining that, is the result of what's occurring and why we're seeing this increase in cases on the Cape here right now, too, for the failure to continue testing at that.
And we had another one today that had a Pfizer vaccine about 20 days ago and was due for the vaccine tomorrow, and the individual tested positive, symptomatic and positive. So again, I think we all learned a lesson on not putting testing on the back burner as much as we wanted to. We need to keep both the vaccine process and testing in parallel as we move forward here, at least for the next couple months.
So the testing kits, when the community gets tested, as you've said, it's not picking up the variants, it's picking up the base of it, as far as the coronavirus. So how that is done is there are selected test kits that are sent to the CDC for sequencing, and then we receive the feedback from the CDC as far as that indeed it is a P1 variant. But at this point, as Chief said, there is test kits in development for those variants, so which is going to become beneficial through this coming year. So. Also, as far as the testing that we did for the community yesterday, there is those individuals are already receiving their results. I mean, it was a very well-run system.
It was great, yep.
That the Mass Department of Public Health, it's a whole package system. They come down, they say what they want, how it's set up, and to the point that people were dinging us saying, hey, I already got results by text this morning at 8 o'clock. So we are looking to host another testing day for the town, and we're shooting for after April vacation at this point. So we will hopefully have more lead notification on that, but it's beneficial to, who'd you see going through the line as far as what do we have for people coming through?
It was all ages. And I talked to a few people as they were going through. Remember, a PCR test, which is what yesterday was, is $150 minimum cost.
Yep, and it was free.
Free, right? So I think, I appreciate the state stepping up and working with us and sending the team down. It was good integration of resources. Everybody had been doing this a while, so it was a good setup on a drive-through testing site at the Human Services Building, right? Which is something we've wanted to do, and we were able to mitigate the traffic pattern and work out all of those pieces. So, it was good to see the whole process, and the fact that those of you that took advantage of it yesterday got a $150 test for nothing.
Right.
And which probably, if you ask my opinion, should have been from day one.
Yep.
This testing should be free, but what they offered was fantastic. And like you said, let's bring them back for a second round of testing post-vacation, which I think would be appropriate. And some people may need a PCR test negative to go back to work, coming back from vacation, and this would solidify that. And that's why I was really pleased with how things went yesterday and the amount of people. 4 hours, 300 people, you're looking at 75 people per hour. That is roughly more than one person per minute coming.
Right. Yep, and those in line, speaking to them, there were people calling ahead or in line saying, I have symptoms, but I'm not sure. Can I still get tested? And it was, yes, you can. That's what it's here for. Let's bring you through. There were a few who were looking to travel, and granted the travel is an advisory, but wanted to be safe about it, so they were in line for it to be able to travel. And then there were groups of families just looking to get tested to make sure everybody was still all set. set.
Yep.
So,
It was excellent. It really was.
yeah, and we had Nikki Bordelon from the nurse from the school system there greeting a lot of the families and whatnot. So it was well run and well attended. So we'll, as you said, we'll look to do that again.
Yeah, bring that back.
As far as vaccinations going on today.
Yep. So today we did 5 homebound. It was actually J&J vaccine. We got a very, very small allotment of 5 to be able to handle that, and then a smaller clinic of 20. And again, we're still targeting our 65, 75 plus who were either hesitant in the beginning or had some medical issues and are now feeling better and want the vaccine. So we don't call them cleanup clinics, but we're looking at, still those phase 1 people that need the shot. We get a small allotment. We're pushing that through. And then you were going to mention the 774 number again.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much, Chief. Go ahead.
So Cape Cod Healthcare has been a great partner the last couple of weeks in making sure the residents here are getting a vaccine through Cape Cod Healthcare. So we had the 774 number. Our great library staff who have really stepped up during this were answering the phones and getting information and pushing it forward to Cape Cod Healthcare. We were notified that everybody that was on that list had been notified for a vaccine. So now we want to look at 50-year-old plus. If we reinstitute the number, get it restaffed, people can leave their name and number and information. The library staff will forward it on to Cape Cod Healthcare, and you'll receive a call from Cape Cod Healthcare scheduling a vaccination shot. So again, that's good news that our initial list has been addressed. Let's bring some more people on board that need it, and our library staff will help facilitate that. And we just keep moving things forward.
So we'll have that number, the COVID hotline number, up on the screen as we're going along here, so that you can write that down. And again, our intention is the information will be taken and we'll submit it, but at the same time, as I've always said, take the first bridge you come to. If you're in the process and you're able to get a vaccine sooner, take it. But we're looking to supply as many venues as we possibly can to get the community vaccinated. And just speaking of that, the county just put out a release for vaccination clinics for April 6th and April 7th of next week. April 6th we'll have 1,400 doses. The April 7th we'll have 800 doses. It is Pfizer that they're offering there. People have been getting, we'll back up to that. But and then on April 8th, the Barnstable County Fairgrounds is also doing 800 doses. So the web address to get on there to register will be put up on the screen also as we're talking. And then, but just to back up quick, we're seeing a lot of people shopping for the type of vaccine they want. And when I'm telling you what type of vaccine that they're offering, it's just for an awareness, but at the same time, what are we seeing?
So I think some people just want the one and done, the Johnson & Johnson. Others are, questioning Moderna and Pfizer. And what I can tell everybody, what we did at the fire department when vaccines started is with our antibody testing, we tracked a group of people to see when antibodies would kick in. So Pfizer vaccine, within day 10 of your first shot, antibodies were showing. Moderna was around day 12 to 13, again, depending on who you are. The J&J vaccine, it's in the mid-20s. Day 24, day 25, we're starting to see antibodies. So the good news is all 3 vaccines are showing antibody production.
Yep.
What's going to be interesting is the strength of I had the Moderna. My antibody levels after the second shot were through the roof and still are. I'm curious to see a J&J vaccinated person, and we have a few that we've been testing. Where are they at day 40? Right, and what do those levels look like is going to be interesting. But the bottom line is all 3 work. All 3 have shown success against the variant. I think Pfizer came out yesterday with some information on that. And And like you said, I would take the first one that you get.
Yep, because we are, I know Joanne, the public health nurse, is getting calls asking, well, what are you offering? And it's like, okay, people, just, register for the shot, get the shot you can. Granted, J&J is probably more convenient because you're one and done, and you don't have to wait that time frame. But please, just get in line, take the one that's available to you at that
What people
point.
need to realize, when I did my research many years ago, one of the things that we looked at the university is happening. We're the first one out of the gate, about 90 days in, which is pretty much, I think, where we're at now, is so flush with supply that you're going to see that open up to a whole bunch of people. There's going to be more vaccine coming out because it's, well, what's the next best thing? Moderna.
Right.
I'll take that. Well, what's the next best thing now? J&J.
Right.
Everybody's looking for that. So
Now all of a sudden, Pfizer's.
Pfizer's is plentiful. It's out there, and I think just preparing people that whatever vaccine I would have taken Pfizer if it was offered. I took Moderna because that's what was offered, but I would have taken J&J. So I think you're right. Take the first bridge you come to. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you have, and Joanne will on the vaccine, but. You can't go wrong with any of them.
So, and as the news this morning, I'm sure many people saw that there were 15 million doses of the Johnson & Johnson that are not adequate and won't be shipped. And I know the CDC director was promising a big boost in April, and that 15 million was that boost. And we're probably not going to be seeing that. So if you're shopping for J&J, you may have to look a little harder. So but at this point, take what you come to. And as the chief had said, they're all worthwhile, and we would have taken any one at that.
I think you're going to see a big boost in April. It's going to be Pfizer.
Yeah.
And I think I don't think that was a stretch on her part to say there's going to be a big boost, but just reading the tea leaves right now and talking with people, I think you're going to see a huge influx. Because remember, Pfizer's been able to produce longer than anybody else. So that production is not stopped with the Defense Production Act, them getting vaccine out there. So I think that's why we need to prepare people that Pfizer may be coming back around now is the priority vaccine that's available. And remember, it's one shot, 21 days later, second shot.
So, and just for planning purposes, as far as we've seen that about 40% of the people are after the second shot, their life is disrupted a little bit by having symptoms. As far as, you want to describe what they're seeing typically?
Yeah, and it's funny because, not to age discriminate, but all my young firefighters are having horrendous time after the second shot, and our older firefighters, Dave, I'm not going to throw you in that category, but anybody north of 50, which I'm close to, has not had a significant reaction.
Right.
And it's interesting, and a lot of it's based on immune systems over time have been built up and exposures to different things. But if you are an older individual, I'm not going to say you're not going to have a reaction, but the statistics are much, much lower. My mother's 78 years old, and she saw that I got sick from Moderna after the second shot, was very nervous, and then basically let me know, I'm fine. I just had a sore arm and nothing.
Well, you and I had them at the same time and had totally different experiences. So, with that, I think it's advisable if once you're getting on the list, and you're registering, when you get that second shot, be wary of what you have planned the next day.
Yep.
I don't think you want to get on a plane the next day. Just kind of, it's not like you can control the date that you get that second shot. You're being told when it is. Yep. So just don't make a lot of plans for the next day after that. Hydrate well. We've been telling people also. So just make some plans and just plan for the worst situation that you may just want to hang out and lay low for a day.
In short duration, my experience was about 8 to 10 hours.
Yep.
And I had the shot by noon the next day. I felt crummy, had a fever, headache. That was around noon. Laid down for a bit. By 8 o'clock that night, I'm like, all right, feeling better. And it's literally like a light switch. I tell people the next morning, it felt like nothing had happened at all.
It's tolerable, but a lot of people don't expect it. So, and one thing we're trying to tell you, one, it's normal.
Yep.
It's occurring with everyone. And two, just plan for it, as far as expect it to happen. And that way, if you're free and clear after that, you're feeling good and you can go about your normal day.
Remember, maximum vaccine efficiency is around 14 days post second shot,
Right.
where they feel that 94% or whatever that number is, you're going to hit that. So don't go crazy after the second shot. Still be diligent. Still be diligent moving forward, but
And don't go crazy after the first shot either.
well, that's where we saw a bunch of people that were
Yes.
positive. And that's the thing. You're going to have some antibodies, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be in the free and clear from contracting the virus, especially now with the variants out there that are much easily transmitted or more easily transmitted than the previous. Just be diligent, be careful. The warm weather's coming. Hopefully the increase in humidity will soften the viral load like it did last summer, and we can get through to the through the year and into, I can't believe you say into 2022, but we're probably in this for another couple months at least, and then hopefully the future is bright after that.
So as far as planning, and we've mentioned this every time, we have town meeting coming up. That's a go at this time. So if it'll be the same setup as previous town meetings. And then we have spoken with Town Clerk Taylor White, and he's going to be setting up the voting booths at a reduced hour of operation, but because there's not a lot of races going on, but it will be set up in such a way that like it had been in the past also, because we do have the variants out there, so it'll be set up to space everyone for social distancing and to make it safe to vote. So that is going on, and then there'll be school activities coming up, and we'll be discussing those more as this proceeds.
And I think I talked to Taylor this morning, so the voting, the firefighter decon folks will be there again.
Perfect.
Wiping down the booths. And then we're in a better position this year. We were able to offer antibody testing last year. Anybody that is working the polls for Taylor will be contacted May the 5th, which I believe is a Wednesday. The election is Thursday. May 5th, they'll be offered rapid antigen testing. And then they will also be offered it on May 12th, which is 6 to 7 days after voting, if they so choose. It's voluntary, but we're in a better position this year to be able to offer our frontline, voting staff that opportunity, which I'm happy to report.
Perfect. Planning ahead. So so I think that's what we have for today.
I think we're
So, all right, people, April Fools to you. Enjoy. Let's help make things look brighter. And again, keep social distancing, adhere to the protocols, be safe. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.